When you saw Night Shift in the store in 1990, it immediately grabbed your attention. It's got this great hand-drawn art, it has Star Wars figures, it has some kind of weird assembly line. This was an instant buy for me when I was a kid, but unfortunately the gameplay was so confusing that I don't think I ever got past the first level. Still, this is a fun box with a lot of stuff going on inside and out. I can't get enough of the cover art. If you take a second to look at it, you can see the assembly line is supposed to go this way. You can see these Star Wars toys being formed and colored and everything. I think what's going on down here is this is supposed to be a defective toy with the wrong head, obviously, so it's getting knocked off the conveyor belt. This is an Indiana Jones head, by the way. And here's a lawyer yelling about it. I love how there's just so much going on. You probably noticed this on the front, but on the back we learn you're specifically playing a character who's gotten a job at Industrial Might and Logic, a play on the name Industrial Light and Magic, the visual effects arm of Lucasfilm. Here are some screenshots and some more art down at the bottom. Opening it up, we'll look at everything a little more closely, but first just look at all the stuff that's in here. Lots of cool things. Here are the 5 1/4 inch floppies. There's a trade-in form for if you want the 3 1/2 inch floppies. Here's the copy protection wheel, always a fun thing to see. When the game starts, it'll have a picture of a character and the name of a color, and you match up the head and body to look like the character. Look to the color that it says, and then put in the corresponding 4-fruit code. Next up, there's this fake Toy Executive magazine. There's some funny blurbs here, and on the inside there's a whole in-world article about Industrial Might and Logic. The article talks about how the owner of IML has decided to do away with microchips and go back to fully mechanical production, claiming that doing so yields better quality products. He learned that this is expensive and evidently bad for the environment though, so he ended up designing machines made of scrap metal and recycled household items, and that use actual trash as the raw material for the toys. We saw this on the front. So this all goes to explain why the game features a machine with such bizarre components. Next we have the manual, disguised as another piece of in-world literature, an Industrial Might and Logic employee handbook. The cover on this is made of some actually high-quality cardstock. In this part of the handbook, there's some handwritten notes, and they also mention that the E key was broken on the typewriter used to write this up, so for the whole rest of the manual, there are no E's anywhere. Here it explains what the different components of the machine actually do. The bike charges a battery, the furnace produces steam to power pistons, things like that. And the rest of it generally explains how things work and what your job is. The manual is super cool. I will say though that the missing E thing does make it slow to read. Of course you can figure out most everything written here, but you have to actively think about it as you read, so it takes some time to get through. Here's the reference guide. What's funny is that I was mentioning how impossible Night Shift was for me to figure out when I was little, but this guide tells you exactly how to beat shifts 1 through 5, so that would have been helpful if I had paid attention. Finally, this isn't unique to Night Shift, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but here's this box's issue of The Adventurer. This was a little periodical that LucasArts published and also happened to include with their games for a while. The one you find in any given box isn't actually exclusive to that game, but was the one that was published at that time. And this one happens to be the very first issue. This has a really good interview with Ron Gilbert about the secret of Monkey Island. He talks about being inspired by the Pirates of the Caribbean ride, some of the funny anachronisms in the game, stuff like that. There are a couple of pieces on Night Shift as well. And if you haven't played the game, this extended screenshot over here gives you an idea of how complex and confusing the game is when you jump into a level. I don't think that's what they were going for though when they included this. There's a letters to the editor section, and there's a neat thing down here where they take time to spotlight a non-LucasArts game that they just think is really cool. This issue covers Sid Meier's Railroad Tycoon. This box is awesome. The cover's great, the inside is great, the fake magazine is actually kind of magazine-like in its material, and the fake handbook is actually well made and has the added effect of the fake binder rings on the inside. There's so much going on here, and really just everything about this box is so much fun.